All right, Fresh, let's go to our next game of the week. This is on Friday. This is a 3:30 kickoff, so you have a full day of digestion ready to go. This is a fun one, man. This is one that really both of these teams are 7-0 in the conference. We're talking about the UTSA Roadrunners against the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane's only losses to Mississippi State. UTSA has played a lot of teams tough. They only lost games in their non-con schedule. Both these teams really have a lot to fight for. High respectability there. Can Tulane be that group of five representative in the New Year's Day Six? It's going to come down to this game right now. I believe we may be seeing a rematch too in the conference title game.
Yeah, I mean, right now Tulane, the highest rated group of five, so they're looking to repeat and go back like they did last year. I have a real tall test. No, first off, this is the one, and then whoever they might get in that title game, and it could be a rematch. So this game taking place on Friday. On Saturday, SMU Navy also plays, and SMU is they're tied with both these teams technically in that range. So if Tulane loses, SMU them are all even, and all eyes are gonna be on that Navy SMU game to root for the Navy midshipmen to pull up that upset. So there could potentially be a
Right.
rematch down the road. So a lot is at stake in this football game going forward. But that just shows how competitive this was. Now, when Tulane went dominated last year, it was Tajay Spears and Michael Pratt. This year, very similar combination. And for UTSA, it has been Frank Harris and a whole host of wide receivers and running backs there for the Roadrunners who've been putting up points. This year, he's dealt with a couple of injuries. They haven't been as explosive. Zachary Franklin leaving and going to Ole Miss in the transfer portal before the year, but they finally got in their groove. They took on a tougher schedule and they've played better. Come out with a 6 touchdown effort there versus USF last week. Maybe this team is hitting their stride. They've undefeated in league play. They had a couple of tough matchups outside of the conference. They're starting to get their feet together and move in the right direction. Tulane, like you mentioned, that they played very competitive versus Ole Miss early in the year. Almost got them, but lost late. There's definitely talent. We thought a lot of the talent left. Obviously, we were wrong because a lot of talent still here, and the team is playing really, really well. This game being at home in New Orleans, very, very big for them. If this was actually in San Antonio in the dome there, I would actually have a bigger. I would worry about their opportunities because that crowd there has shown the past few years in those Conference USA title games for Tulane that they can get pretty rowdy and become an environment. So this football game is going to be an adventure, and I think you're going to have two great quarterbacks getting after it. Frank Harris has played for San Antonio, UTSA for what it feels like 30 years now. He's going to be obviously the career passer in yards and touchdowns, and they're going to build statues of him as they move forward. But this is a chance to really staple and take this program to the next level. Winning the Conference USA is one thing. You come in here, you beat Tulane, the defending champion, and get a chance to play for an AAC title next year and opportunity to even go for a New Year's Six bowl. If they could jump up, maybe you never know what's going to happen with the rankings and how this impressive win could be. There's a lot at stake. This is also one kind of weird thing when you have success as a football team. Sometimes your head coach is going to get perched. Jeff Traylor there at UTSA. There's some rumors that he might be in line for that Texas A&M job, just like we talked about Lane Kiffin. Could this be his last gig and his last effort? Is that a distraction for the Roadrunners, or is this team going to play for him and they're going to play carefree and let it out and just go get what they're going to get? There's a lot of these factors this time of year where coaches who are these mid-level programs coming up, they're going to be hot candidates for bigger jobs. Where does distractions come into play? Do they coach through it, even though they're taking a job? Do they interviews? Do they tell their players? How does the whole thing go down? And where's the trust between these coaches and these players as these big games come down? Because sometimes these guys are like, this guy's going to piece out on me. Where's my effort? And it should, where's that camaraderie in the locker room when it comes down to it? Are they actually paying attention in meetings? Or are they worried about the rumors? So a lot of these things happen. And sometimes we see it go just fine. Sometimes we see it completely fall apart where the stress, the connection with that coach is lost and they sort of fall down. So I'm watching that factor as well in this football game. UTSA is going to need a big day from linebacker Trey Moore. 14 sacks heading into this week, second in the nation. That's a big, big stat. Can he actually get some pressures on Pratt? Can he really become a factor and get after the quarterback? They're going to need their defense to step up because this Tulane offense is well-oiled machine. They've had 2 years of success. They understand what they're doing. Can you go on the road and bring that defense and get some pressure, shut them down, and maybe get some turnovers, shorten the field, get them off the field, give your team a chance because your defense and running game have to travel with you for any kind of road game, especially in a game like this magnitude down in New Orleans. I mentioned Zachary Franklin earlier. That was, Frank Harris's big target the past couple of years. He transferred to Ole Miss. They've been able to find a solid replacement for him as the years move on. Joshua Cephas has done pretty good job taking over the reins for him and maybe sliding in the wide receiver #1 role. Probably going to get himself some NFL money down the road because of what he's been able to do and the skills he's been able to show. Right now, 76 receptions, 966, 9 touchdowns. If he could get 9 receptions for 100 plus and a touchdown in this ball game, that's probably a good situation that either they're able to maintain and he's getting separation from some pretty good coverage. Because right now you have to obviously got to know that Tulane is going to rotate their coverage toward him because he is head and shoulders the #1 target for Frank Harris in this UTSA offense. The Green Wave, last year, like we mentioned earlier, it was Pratt, it was Spears. This year, it's Pratt and Hughes. Hughes, 185, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. The two of them, it's almost like plug and play at running back position, fill in the offense, do what they want to do, and keep making it happen. It's been a thing of beauty to see what Tulane's been able to do. I know we had our doubts on how they're going to replace them. Both these teams have replaced their big time playmakers without any issue. Um, Defense has been hit or miss for both these teams. Offense is the name of the game for both of them. And in the end, I'm still, where does Frank Harris going to go? Does he have another option? Can he use his legs a little bit more? I think Michael Pratt's been through the battles. That win over USC last year in the Cotton Bowl definitely will hold true and is a statement to show this team is built for the long distance, built for the longevity. I think they're just too much in this football game. Tulane will find a way. UTSA will give them a heck of a fight. They will put it out there. They will take it to them. I think Frank Harris gets another chance to have a national showcase. So please tune in this football game and watch because you're going to see a special kid at quarterback. But Michael Pratt and the Tulane Green Wave get it done. I'm going to say 27-21. A late drive there from the Green Wave. They're going to survive. And then fingers crossed the rest of the way for the AAC title foe in the championship game the week after. But Tulane will get it done, and they will host the title game next week.
Yeah, you're right about this, Fresh. Frank Harris, special player, man. And this is the crazy thing, something that we've talked about quite a bit with this podcast over time. One of the things when we started doing this is we talked about how we didn't want it to be just, team specific or conference specific because there's so many great football players that wind up making it in the NFL, and you're like, where did they play their college ball? Like, and the kids ball out. And Frank Harris may never see the light of day in the NFL. He may be a USFL player or an XFL player, what have you, but he's one of those players that you'll talk about, or UTSA will talk about how great he was for their program. And he's just been absolutely phenomenal there. The thing with UTSA, you say that defense has been kind of hit or miss. They got this linebacker, Trey Moore. It's got 14 sacks on the year. Kid's been just an absolute monster on the defensive side. There's not a ton else over there, but he reminds me of Carter III for Army a couple of years ago, who was just an absolute beast for the Black Knights. And he was surrounded by some good players, and I shouldn't say there's like nothing else there, but he was a huge difference maker for that defense. And then the other guys were just standard players on that defense. Same thing. I kind of feel the same thing with Trey Moore. I think he's kind of like this do everything linebacker. He's able to hit. He's really good, I think, against the run there. You take a look at what he's been able to do even in coverage. He's an impressive kid. He should get a lot of looks when, maybe when we're talking about our postseason All-American team. He's an opportunity. He's a guy who has a huge opportunity. I take a look at Tulane, though. Tulane has a little bit of pressure on them in this ball game. And Michael, like you said, Michael Pratt and Hughes have just picked up where they left off last year, but they want to be that team that makes back-to-back New Year's Six games. Just outside of them is a team like Toledo that lost in a controversial game week 1 against Illinois. They had a couple of calls very late in that game go against them. They've run the table in the MAC. They've been one of the best teams in the Mid-American Conference all year. You got Liberty that's undefeated right now and probably won't have a loss on the year. Both of those two teams are just outside. So if Tulane slips up here, watch out for those teams to make a jump. So there is that little bit of pressure because there's a huge difference, especially for a program like Tulane. That type of payout from a New Year's Day 6 bowl game, even win, lose, or indifferent, that type of payout is phenomenal for a program like Tulane compared to the type of money you're going to get for the Bahamas Bowl or something along those lines, Boca Raton Bowl. that they get sent off to if they drop out of this. Fresh, this is going to be a back and forth game. I got a feeling that something's going to happen in this game where UTSA is going to wind up winning it in the long run. UTSA is that just, we talked about earlier this season, we talked about how if a team like Tennessee looked past UTSA, like it would have been an easy place that they would have gotten clipped. I think UTSA is going to be able to really control the time of possession. Tulane has been the better team at controlling the time of possession. But for me, the thing that's going to come down to it, Frank Harris, is he able to throw the ball? Is he able to kind of use his feet to scamper around a little bit? And UTSA, right now, they're averaging about 6 penalties a game. You got to have that down to the 3 or 4 mark, especially on the road. This is a 3-point spread right now, Fresh. That's home field advantage in college football. Actually, it probably tells me that Vegas may lean to thinking that UTSA is a little bit better of a team right now. So guess what? I'm going the Roadrunners. I'm going Roadrunners winning the game late field goal to win. And I'm also going to say the Navy midshipmen are going to pull off the upset against SMU, and we're going to get a rematch next week for the AAC title game.
That would be awesome because then that would actually put the game in San Antonio. They'd flip sites. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So then you get another chance and totally redeem yourself.
I mean, I think when you look at the quarterbacks, I think Pratt is the veteran. I mean, both these guys played forever, but he's the one who sort of been to the higher level. Calm, not going to put up the 4,000 yards, 25,000 touchdowns, whatever. I'm obviously exaggerating, but he's able to, balance out the offense and be the orchestrator. Frank Harris is an amazing athlete back there, but not just an athlete. He is a legit playmaking quarterback who he's a lefty, kind of maybe not going to say he's Michael Vick, but the way he uses his legs, his vision, the way he can throw the football at all different levels, that right there shows me the kid has some skills and can be dangerous outside the pocket. So there's the game manager who's analytically solid, and then there's the playmaker at quarterback. Whichever one of those shows up on Saturday and it has the last laugh will win.
Yeah.